Dave Smith just called out Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro built a career opposing identity politics as a proud Zionist.
And in a recent Tucker Carlson appearance, Smith called out the hypocrisy in Ben Shapiro's argument and cited one of his comments as an example.
I forget his exact quote, but it was something like, "My favorite thing about the United States of America is that it protects Israel."
Dave also explained how the media landscape has changed and big corporations lost control of the narrative. Just watch this clip before I give you the bigger picture.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? Ben Shapiro built a career opposing identity politics as a proud Zionist.
Yeah.
Now you, listen, feel however you feel about Zionism. It's identity politics. Like that is the definition of, you could not find a better example of a politics built on an identity. And yet you're out here saying facts don't care about your feelings. Identity politics is wrong. And then while you're saying that, your number one priority is this manifestation of identity politics. You can only keep that charade going for so long.
No, it's totally true.
Before someone sees through it.
Love him or hate him, Dave makes a valid point here. Identity politics at its core is when political views and movements are shaped around characteristics like race, religion, ethnicity, or gender. By that definition, Zionism does qualify. I know it's a touchy subject, but the movement was founded to establish a homeland for the Jewish people, which makes it fundamentally a form of identity-based politics. Not saying that's a bad thing, just a fact. And to be fair, you can argue that Zionism has evolved. Today, some non-Jewish supporters back the ideology for various reasons, such as geopolitical strategy, shared values, or supporting a democratic ally in the Middle East. And I'd say that's probably the direction Ben would take as a counter-argument, but even if that is true, the roots of Zionism are clear. It was still, is for many, a movement born from a collective identity.
If you accuse Ben Shapiro of having dual loyalty, they go, "Oh, that's an anti-Semitic trope. That means you hate the Jews." But then he'll sit there in his own words and say, I forget his exact quote, but it was something like, "My favorite thing about the United States of America is that it protects Israel." And so you're already saying you have loyalty to both of these countries. In fact, I'm not so sure about one of the loyalties, but I'm very sure about the other one. But this is a foreign government. Like, I'm sorry. We're allowed to talk about that.
All right, so this is a counter-argument that I actually see a lot of logic in, as it is something that I thought at the time when I was watching Ben a little more regularly. If you're against foreign aid to Ukraine, I'd expect the same stance to apply across the board. Consistency matters here, but as you might have guessed, that's not always the case with Ben. For instance, in October of 2022, he posted a screenshot of a Washington Post article on X saying, quote, "WAPO reports the White House knows full Ukrainian victory is impossible, but has no clue what the end goal or timeline looks like, so they'll keep funding the war indefinitely with increasing risk of Putin out-of-the-box response. Absurd and terrifying," end quote. Strong words, until you realize that he shifted position since then. Sometimes he argues for limited aid, other times he frames it as being in America's interest. It just kind of depends on the day, but when it comes to Israel, there's no hesitation. Ben is consistently outspoken in favor of sending full support. Just a few months ago, he repeatedly slammed Biden for slowing down aid to Israel in the final weeks of his presidency, so the double standard seems loud and clear.
I saw Glenn Beck the other day had Douglas Murray on, and Glenn Beck wasn't like mean to me personally, but which I appreciated. But he was just going, it was just so ridiculous. But it's like, we're sitting here, we're having a conversation about a foreign government. You started crying on your show talking about this foreign government. That's weird. That's weird. We should not be doing that. What the hell is going on here? Like, I don't even think you should cry about our own government, but if you're going to cry about one, it should be ours.
And no one would even think to cry about it.
Right. Come on. Let's have a real conversation about this.
I think foreign policy is where most online commentators start to really show their cracks. When it comes to domestic issues, they tend to sound informed, grounded, and often bring up valid points since it comes from a place of lived experience. But once the topic shifts to international affairs, especially conflicts in diplomacy, things quickly fall apart. Now, I'm not pulling a Douglas Murray here, but I've seen a lot of strong takes from people who barely understand what they're even talking about. They don't have to be an expert, just be a little bit studied. And by the way, I've noticed you haven't liked the video or subscribed to the channel yet, so what are you waiting for? Now, Dave switched the conversation and took a few jabs at the MSM as well, and actually made some valid points, as always.
One of the most profound things has been this revolution in information and the technology, and it's led to this like kind of mass decentralization of media. You know, and I'm sure you've had this experience too. You'll find someone, you'll be like, oh, that guy's actually really smart. People should know about this guy.
Really smart.
How many followers? 7 million. Oh, he's got 7 million followers. Oh, he's huge. Like, I just found some guy who is bigger than anyone on cable news, and I didn't even know he existed, you know? And so now it's just because of this dynamic, there aren't, you know, as you know, the corporate media apparatus, like big newspapers and big cable news shows and things, was very controlled. Very controlled. The range of allowable opinion was very narrow. It's what my good friend and brilliant historian Tom Woods always called the 3x6 card of allowable opinion.
Exactly.
You know, you get this little area of allowable opinion, and then that's where the conversation takes place. That's been shattered into a million pieces.
If you think about it, this is exactly why you're able to watch this video right now, because we finally have platforms where alternative viewpoints can break through. I'd say it's also one of the reasons that Trump has been able to connect with even more people this time around. And make no mistake, if this were the early 2000s, the media would have buried him after the first impeachment attempt by the left, and we probably wouldn't even be talking about him today. No second chances, no counter narratives, just silence. But that didn't happen, and one of the biggest reasons is the rise of the online space. We've reached a stage where people's real concerns are being brought to the mainstream instead of just a few media conglomerates setting the tone of the national conversation.
And now there's voices from all over the place, and some good and some great and some bad and really bad. But it's just much harder for people to, you know, that control existed so that you don't get exposed. So that you don't get exposed,
Exactly.
so that you could go like, look, even the right-winger John McCain agrees. Or even the far left activist Nancy Pelosi. I mean, it's like, dude, I have to hear
Or
Hannity.
AOC.
Dude, Sean Hannity goes, the far left Nancy Pelosi. And it's like, how many leftists have you actually talked to in your life? How many leftists have you ever read? You think Nancy Pelosi's a far leftist? Like, really?
Living on her vineyard in Napa?
Yes. It's
Yeah, okay.
all these different, you know, these different tools of corporations are left and right. But so that's over now. And now I think it's much tougher to keep this charade going.
Exactly. It's also a major reason that while YouTube and other social media provide a good enough platform for people to express their opinions freely, Elon's acquisition of Twitter took things to a whole new level. For years, platforms claimed to support open dialogue while quietly deciding what views were acceptable and which were not. Then Musk took over, shifted the focus, and suddenly people could have narratives without immediate censorship. Controversial topics that were once off limits are now being openly discussed. The reason I bring this up is that other tech giants followed suit and we're now living in a much needed course correction. But I'd love to know your thoughts here, so let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below. And if you want your friends to get their coverage from an independent source like myself, please share the video with them. It means the world. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.